Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Irish Sports Daily Morning After Recap Show. I am Ge Flammang, Notre Dame 35, Virginia 14. It is the morning after Notre Dame's game yesterday, and we're going to talk about all that we saw, all that we're thinking the morning after the game. If anyone has come down from disappointment about the offense, or if people want to talk about how good Notre Dame's defense is, which is absolutely phenomenal, we can talk about that and anything else you want to discuss from the world of college football. Georgia beats Tennessee yesterday, so they remain in the playoff hunt. They have very much set themselves up. And we're going to have to see what the committee does with Tennessee and all of that. BYU goes down, which I think a lot of people were waiting to see happen. I think we can be done pretending that BYU is a good football team. It likely means that the Big 12 is only going to get one team into the college football playoff. I believe the loser of their conference title game is going to be out. That is my opinion. The winner is obviously guaranteed a spot. So that looks like it's going to be Colorado right now. They're playing really good ball. So we can talk about that and whatever else you guys want to bring up in the chat. So thank you, everyone, for tuning into my show. If you like what you hear today, please hit the like. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. So whenever it is, we are going to go live. Links to the podcast are in the description below. And as always, the show is brought to you by ESQ Clothing. Notre Dame alum Ge Wang has a Black Friday special coming up at the end of the Army game. Ge Wang is going to match percentage-wise the number of points that Notre Dame scores in that game. If Notre Dame scores 40 points, then you get 40% off all online items, dress shirts, bamboo dress shirts, tuxedos, bomber jackets, whatever it might be. Not valid for gift cards or anything like that. So you're going to want to go to ESQ Clothing after the Notre Dame game against Army and take advantage of that great sale for Black Friday. You've seen ESQ and all your favorite Notre Dame players and coaches, and Ge Wang's been doing this for over a decade, right? The players, everything that they wear, you see it on the player walks. That is ESQ Clothing. So go to esqclothing.com. Take advantage of the Black Friday special. The percentage will be matched of Notre Dame's points against Army. So check that out. Keith Hearing, thank you. We'll just get you started. Teams should just start their backup quarterback. Golden makes every starter look like hot trash. Element of surprise might be their only hope. Just a thought. Maybe. I think the success for Musket was coincided by the officials gifting them a long reception that led to their first touchdown, which is an embarrassment for them. And then the second touchdown was backup. So maybe that maybe Keith is just a Marcel Reed truther on that. Oh man, yeah. But Notre Dame's made Calandria just look real bad. 8 of 21 passing for Calandria, 69 yards, 3 interceptions, 38% completions, 37.1 passer rating. He had a very bad game. He had a very bad time of it, and Notre Dame made him. They had to pull him. They had to pull him for performance. So, but that's what Al Golden could do. He's an amazing defensive coordinator. Envy Irish says the O-line was on the struggle bus early. Did you see anything on the rewatch worth monitoring? Not really. I think, Pat Coogan, we kind of talked about it yesterday. He had a rough one. He had a rough game yesterday. He had some penalties. He had some missed assignments. I think they ran the ball pretty well for the most part, right? They're averaging 6.2 yards a carry. Jadarian Price, let me see if I can do quick math here. Jadarian Price and Jeremiah Love combined for 22 carries for 81 yards. 22 carries for 181 yards and 2 touchdowns for your 2 starting running backs. That'll get it done. So I think they blocked well enough. Obviously, Jadarian Price had a long touchdown run. But that was perfectly blocked, right? Like, I think we talk a lot about missed tackles forced for Jeremiah Love and how he's breaking tackles and yards after contact, things of that nature. On that, that's perfectly blocked. He makes a good cut, to his credit. But they blocked that up nicely, and it led to an explosive. So it's I thought they had a good game there. Let's check out their pass pro. Let's check out their pass pro. NV Irish. I've got the stats here. Well, I don't want that. I don't want team reports. And let me do this off. We had another hands to the face called. Jason Z says another hands. I've never seen hands to the face called this often on the offensive line. In fact, almost every time there's a hands to the face penalty, it's on the defense. That was not the case yesterday. Not that those were bad calls, right? Like if your hands to the face. I thought there was one against Emil Wagner that was just kind of unbecoming. Like you don't need to call that. That was a bad call. I thought the Emil Wagner one, but the Pat Coogan one that wiped out the touchdown, that was legit. Unfortunately, that was a legit call. All right, 32% pressure rate on Riley Leonard yesterday, which is pretty standard fare for this season. Now, look, you want that in the 20s, okay? You want it around like 20%, 15, 20%. It's been in the 30s all year. I thought Notre Dame struggled with it in the first half, specifically when like Virginia was barely bringing pressure. They weren't bringing a ton of pressure in the first half yesterday. They blitzed him 8 times on 37 dropbacks, right? You want they're getting pressure and they're not bringing a bunch of guys. Ryan Leonard did a good job against the blitz, 4-7 against the blitz for 51 yards and a touchdown, and almost a 92 grade on his blitzing passes. So that's a good job by Ryan Leonard, hitting against the blitz. So that's good, but they got a good amount of pressure in the first half when they weren't sending numbers. So that's a concern. But like, look, when you have a line like this, when you've got some backups in there, you're going to have kind of a shaky game at times on that front. So nothing too alarming. I wouldn't say any of this is alarming. You just want to see continued play. And I want to make a point. I want to make a point here before I get to more comments. Just kind of an extended. I was thinking about this yesterday. I think it's hard. Like I as someone who follows the team and you look at the opportunity that Notre Dame has and you think, okay, they got to continue to build. They got to continue to build. Unfortunately, that isn't really how it works. And we do have to give grace to the fact that like sometimes you can't just continue to go against, we'll say lesser opponents and the team. Like sometimes you need an opponent to actually raise your level of play. And I think the Notre Dame offensive line specifically is just getting a little bit stagnant. I think the passing game is getting a little bit stagnant. People say regression. Really what they're talking about is just a failure to grow, a failure to take steps forward. I think they played the way that they have been playing over the last few weeks. We'd feel so much different about it if the pass to Jaden Harrison had counted. If the fourth down play where Leonard throws it to Mitchell Evans, if it doesn't get tipped and it's caught, we feel so much differently about the whole game, I think. But those plays didn't happen. And so we kind of feel like, oh, they're regressing. They're regressing. It's not that they're regressing. That they're doing what they've been doing. It's just that they're not taking those steps forward that you want to see. Right. So let's just that's something that I was thinking about, wanted to share it with the people. I think they're playing fine. It's just you want to see more. You want to see growth. And we didn't really see the growth yesterday. So that leaves you wanting. CFB hurts. It felt to me like there was concerted effort to limit Leonard's rushing yesterday. Did you get that impression? If so, could that be a part of why the offense struggled so much? He didn't use much with his legs, for sure. There weren't many design runs in this game. He was credited 8 attempts for 32 yards. Let's see how many of those were actually designed. Because it certainly didn't seem as though how much of design runs for him. Let's see. Oh, Riley Leonard. All right. He had the worst grade of rushing. That's not good. One tackles forced. 4 scrambles. So they had him down for four scrambles for 29 yards, and then 4 carries for the rest of it. So that would be 4 design runs for, I guess it would be, what is that? I said 29 yards. So 32. I mean, I did get sacked in the game as well. So that's they didn't design many runs for him, only 3 design runs. So yeah, you could say that. I mean, look at Price and Love, they carried the ball 22 times. Aeneas Williams carried the ball 7 times, so that's another 29 carries for the backs. And that's fine, right? Like those guys were doing well, but it did seem like they weren't extending drives. I mean, you're 1 for 12 on 3rd down. I mean, that's terrible. Like that's just unacceptable. They're 1 of 13 if you consider the penalty that on the first drive where they had the roughing the passer penalty. So, it's just it was just that they didn't try to run him as much. But we have 1 for 13, 1 for 12 on 3rd down. That's not going to get it done. So, there was not the extension of Notre Dame drives due to his legs. TD4ND says, I thought Leonard did not try to extend runs protection. So he was able to scramble and throw a couple of times. So that's good job by him. Abe Froman, the Sausage King of Chicago, asked, how many drops did Bo Collins have in the first half? No wonder they were in 3rd and long all game. Help Leonard out, please. That was part of it. Well, there was one drop. The one bad drop was actually a penalty on the play. So even if he caught it, it wouldn't have counted. So that doesn't go down as a drop because it's basically a no play. I thought he needed to do better on the slant that was incomplete, where they had the roughing the passer penalty that extended that drive. I thought he needed to do better there. I thought there was a 3rd down where he needed to do better on like kind of a stop route. I mean, it's tough. Like, first of all, he's not open, and Leonard, he threw it where the play is designed to go. So it's not. I'm not gonna bang him for that. But like Bo Collins, just the ball hits your hands, you need to catch it. And I thought the ball to Faison, I thought the deep ball to Faison, I thought he needed to catch that as well. Where he's kind of going up for it. Look, it's a 50-50 ball. It's a contested catch opportunity. Just catch it. I mean, catch the ball. Make a play for your team. Make a play for your quarterback. They only credited him with 1 drop on the game. I mean, that was the short one to Faison. He dropped that one. I thought Faison needed to make the other play. I thought that was a drop. So, I didn't like that. TD4ND Colsey was MIA again. Mikey Gilbert, Cam Williams too. Well, Colsey, he played a good amount. I was thinking yesterday, like I'd be fine to play Colsey ahead of Collins at this point. He's made plays at Notre Dame. He's 19. Yeah, he has 20 catches now. I think he had the short screen. He had the short screen that was like a 3rd and 15 or whatever it was. He got down to the 1, or like it was a yard short, and then they ended up converting on 4th down. Like I'm fine to play Colsey at this point. I am. I'm fine to play Jaden Thomas at this point. Like, let's get those guys out there and give them a chance, because Bo Collins, it just hasn't been there for the last 3 weeks, and that's not going to get it done. That's not going to get it done. I mean, receiving here. Let's look at some receiving numbers. We got Bo Collins last grade wise. And I mean, I think, you don't need grading to kind of show like it hasn't been good for the past few weeks. So let's look at the past few weeks here. I mean, he had the Georgia Tech game where he had 5 catches for 51. He had 2 catches against Navy. He had the long touchdown against Navy. That's good. 1 for 4 against Florida State. 1 for 3 against Virginia. We're talking 2 for 7 in the last 2 games. You need to be building, right? Notre Dame needs to be building towards something here. Ever since the Stanford, I guess the Georgia Tech game, it hasn't really been there for him. You can't be 2 for 7 throwing the ball to your number 1 guy. It just can't be the situation. He's got 1 drop. They credit him for 1 drop last week, but he also had the big drop in this game, or the big drop in this game that didn't count. And then the other two plays, like I think he can get banked for those as well. So we're monitoring. We're monitoring the Bull Collins situation. That's got to get better. Jason Z says, "Can we get a Jag? Can we get a Jag to ref the Army game? Done with the ACC refs. What a terrible, just an awful performance." And on the fake punt, listen, information has been given to myself from sources, and that's true. This is a sourced thing. The suspicion was Notre Dame let the coaches know, or let the refs know what they wanted to do. I believe that the miscommunication, or the point of contention, is that the refs thought that they were directly snapping the ball to Jack Kaiser, and they weren't. It was in a shotgun situation. The play was designed to the specifications of the rules. They got confused, and a huge play was wiped out, which is unfortunate. They didn't know the rule on the punt return, where you can't, if you muff a punt on a fair catch, the ball has to hit the ground first. And like I think we need like these guys calling the game. I mean, first of all, I'm shocked that Jason Garrett doesn't know this. Like, truly, you're a head coach. You're a head coach in the NFL, and you don't know that if the ball comes down, you call a fair catch, and it hits you, and the ball pops up in the air, the defense cannot just catch it. You do have to give room to secure the catch. That's how it works. We've seen this in other games where they drop the punt, and the Notre Dame returner literally stands there with his hands out, letting the ball hit the ground. That is the rule. And I said it right away. As soon as he caught it, I said, that's Notre Dame's ball. You should not have touched that. And then they give him the ball anyway. It's a true ball don't lie situation where they turned the ball over and Notre Dame got it back. It's terrible. It's you cannot have rule discrepancies like this in a football game. This is Power 4 college football. It's $1 billion industry, or maybe it's a multi-million-dollar industry at worst, and you can't have that. You can't have it. NV Irish, Greg, if you were stuck in a desert island and had to host Hit and Hustle without Mr. University, who would you pick and why? Joel Klatt, Desmond Howard, Danny Cannell, Trevor Maddich. I'd walk into the ocean. Well, I'll tell you what, who wouldn't be. It wouldn't be Desmond Howard. I'm not talking to a Michigan for an hour. Danny Cannell, he's okay. He's because I don't like a lot of his takes. But he's a good conversation. Not Trevor Maddich. Joel Klatt. I think of all these guys, Joel Klatt is the best one, right? Like, he hosts his own show. He does a good job. I'll give credit to Joel Klatt on that. But I would go with Danny Cannell. Because I feel like it's the best back and forth type show. He's got good takes, and he's got spicy takes. So I would go with him, right? Like, I think, and not just that, but I think listening to the Cover 3 every now and then is like when he handles disagreement really well. He doesn't have to be right. He just has a take and he goes with it. That's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with Danny Cannell. Sergio, good morning. Coffee number 3. Sergio's on his third coffee. Sergio's making it happen. Isaac K says, what happened with Jaden Thomas and KK Smith? I mean, they're just lower. They're just lower in the pecking order, right? I don't like the Jaden Thomas one. I get the KK Smith one just because there's a numbers thing. But I don't like the Jaden Thomas one. I think I want him to get more snaps. I do. I want even more snaps. He's been productive at Notre Dame. It's the same thing with Colsey. These guys have been productive at Notre Dame. We've seen him make plays for Notre Dame. Put him on the field. I'd love to know what the disconnect is there. CFB Hurt says, thank God BYU's lost finally. Yeah. I mean, that was, I said it to Jamie on our show when we did our rankings. I ranked BYU 4 because I made the point, like, it's funny because of all the teams, like of the BYUs and the Indianas and like the Boise States and on, like BYU is the one with actual wins, right? Like, they beat SMU, they beat Kansas State. They had wins. I thought they were the worst team of all those teams. Indiana didn't have any good wins. And Boise State has some good wins, but not as good. Like BYU had the best wins out of all of them. But I did think they were the worst team. And so they'll drop. They'll just go. It's fine. Um, it's yeah. Sergio says only a few calls went their way instead of all of them. Yeah, yeah. Yep, there. I mean, it was definitely smoke and mirrors, but that's fine, right? Like football took care of itself, and that's totally good. Mitchell Vahiluk, I feel like all the offensive issues yesterday are correctable. Clean up penalties and drops, and they're rolling. That's true. They are all correctable. I think the problem is like the reason that Notre Dame has failed offensively all season is because of these issues, right? They haven't played like the cleanest of games recently, which is like, look, that's fine. Okay. It's okay. Especially against the opponent. Like you win 35-14 when you're not playing, you know, the you're not playing the toughest teams or whatever, then that's okay, right? You move on with your day. You get it done. But like it is I'll use the word concerning just because it's like you do want to see a little bit better. You do want to see a little bit better. They haven't played poorly in a really long time, but like that wasn't sharp, it wasn't crisp, and then what the execution wasn't where you want it to be. But you know, you move on. You move on. 35-14, you will take that. You will definitely take a 3-touchdown victory. Like barely, look, if you're favored by 23 or whatever it is, you win by 21, and they hit a late backdoor cover with 19 seconds left. You're doing a good job. Envy Irish says Al Golden equals the Broyles Award. Yeah. I mean, look, this pass defense is unbelievable. They're first in pass efficiency. They're first in completion percentage allowed. They're averaging under 50% completions for the season in this era. Under 50% completions. It's incredible. That is so hard to do. I believe they're second in yards per attempt against 5.3. I want to say they're third in interceptions. I made the tweet. Let me just check the tweet here. I could bring it up. I don't want to do that. Let's see. Oh, third and all right. Second in yards per attempt, seventh in interceptions at 15, third in touchdown passes allowed at 6. It's just unbelievable. They're just elite. They're an elite group. Xavier Watts, no one's played better at safety at Notre Dame than Xavier Watts. No one's played better. It's just 11 interceptions in the last 2 years, 6 passes broken up. He's forced 2 fumbles. He's recovered a number of fumbles. Those numbers are hard to find, recovered fumbles. But he's just been unbelievable. No one's done it better. Everyone, Kyle Hamilton. I mean, look, if you're talking about prospect, like Kyle Hamilton's a better prospect. Kyle Hamilton did not get a senior year at Notre Dame. And half his season, like he was in for a special season in 2021. Like he played in 6 games. And he had 4 interceptions already in that. So he was on for a big one. He had 4 interceptions as a freshman in 2019. But Xavier Watts is just unbelievable. Pass coverage, his tackling, his alignment, his playmaking, right? Unbelievable. I mean, he was the defensive player of the year last year. I think he's having a better season this year. I do. So I just he's everything that we thought he could be. R. Ryden 42 says, I think there is a scenario when Notre Dame can get the 5 seed. You know what? Like, I think Louisville, I think them blowing it yesterday really hurts that. Notre Dame only has the 1 ranked win now. I mean, Army's ranked, but when Notre Dame beats them, they're going to fall out of the rankings. So it's just Texas A&M. Notre Dame needs Texas A&M to keep winning now, in order to keep rising up, the 5 seeds, in that things of that nature. They needed Louisville to keep winning. I think they need A&M to keep winning, and obviously Army. So Army's undefeated going into Notre Dame or going into the game next week. So But yeah, I think it makes it tough. But like the 6 or 7 definitely is in play, I think. Greg Wasserman says Deion Sanders, Deion Prime Sanders to FSU. Okay. Okay. That's a huge buyout. It's a huge buyout. Adam Dowling says, Greg, do you think the ACC officials got a police escort out of the stadium? No, they don't care. I mean, I don't think I said this is facetious, but like no one, they didn't cost Notre Dame anything other than some happiness and some cool plays. So yeah, but not a great job. Not a great job. Oh, R. Ryden says, forgot about Penn State. Oh God, what a disgraceful. Get him out of the top 4. Good Lord. Sergio says SC still scares the hell out of me because so many Notre Dame seasons have been ruined in the Coliseum. Is that have they? I don't think they've been ruined in the Coliseum. Here's the thing. Notre Dame has not beaten good USC since 1992. I've talked about this a bunch. Now, USC in 1992 was good. They were ranked. And Notre Dame was ranked. Since then, Notre Dame has always kind of struggle bust in the Coliseum. But when Notre Dame is good and USC is bad in the Coliseum, Notre Dame usually wins. It's just like stressful, right? So look, USC, like the last time USC actually like quote unquote ruined a season is in the 90s, right? Like in 96, they had a chance at a like one of the New Year's 6 bowl games and they lost that game to break the streak. That is a disgraceful loss. That was terrible. They missed an extra point to go up 21-12. And the lead stayed at 20-12, and then went down and scored and they got the 2-point conversion. And Notre Dame lost in overtime. That was disgraceful. In 98, Jarius Jackson hurt his knee on the trying to take a safety against LSU. And obviously that messed it up. But in 2000, USC was bad. Notre Dame was good. Notre Dame won 38-21. 2002, they were both good. The last time, so let's see, 2010, they were both bad. Notre Dame won. 2012, Notre Dame was good and USC was bad, and Notre Dame won 22-13, but that game was very close. 2014 doesn't apply. 2018 was a game where Notre Dame was bad, or Notre Dame was good, and USC was bad. That was a real bad USC team. Notre Dame won 24-17, but it was like very stressful. That shouldn't have happened. Didn't play in 20, and then 2022, USC was good, and Notre Dame was meh. So they usually don't ruin it. It's just that like Notre Dame never plays great. But this is not a good USC team. But by record, right? Like I think, and this is kind of similar to like a lot of teams. Like the 2000 team was kind of good, right? I think the 2012 team was a lot better. That was a backup quarterback in that situation as well. But they had a very good offense. They had a good defense that year. Marquise Lee was like a Bolitnikoff guy. So it's just like that. I think the 2012 team is closer to what this version is. They do scare me though. Like to your point, like it makes me nervous 100%. So it's a good comment. They just don't usually ruin it. But it shouldn't be what it is. People talking about shaking up the wide receiver rotation. I just think it's hard to like this late in the year, like the rotation's usually pretty set. And so we'll monitor. Talking about snaps. CFB hurts. Question on the defense. Virginia gives up tons of sacks, but we didn't get many. Did they focus too much on getting rid of the ball quickly, leading to ugly interceptions where the quarterback didn't see it? Yeah, like I think that was a big thing for them yesterday. Like the quarterback put the ball at risk way too often. And obviously, look, let me see if I can get this pressure and depth. Let's see how much pressure Notre Dame got on Virginia yesterday. Let's see. Well, he only had 22 block back. That 32% pressure rate on Calandria. When he was under pressure, though, he was pressured on 7 of the 22 dropbacks that he had. Um, he was 0 for 6 with 2 interceptions. So he's scrambling all over the place and putting the ball. He's throwing the ball. Let me see the other quarterback, just for the sake of these stats. Musket was pressured on 41% of his dropbacks. So he had 17. So let's say 39 dropbacks. He was pressured on 7, and I believe Calandria was pressured on 7 as well. So 14 of the 39 dropbacks. That'll get it done from a pressure standpoint. And look at, the point's been made a number of times by different people. Pressure leads to turnovers, right? And so look, sometimes a pressure is just as good as a sack because they're putting the ball in places they shouldn't. You're turning them over. That's how Notre Dame scored their points, off of turnovers. So lack of sacks, but the pressure led to the pressure led to turnovers for them. Jason Z says, where is Notre Dame's takeaways this season, and what's the season record? It feels like Notre Dame's had 3 games forcing 5+ turnovers. Let's check I couldn't tell you the record or whatever it might be. It's just because that goes back a long, long way. I know the 88 team, just off the top of my head, on turnovers. Let's see here. Where is it? Turnover margin. Let's just see where they are nationally here. They are second nationally in turnover margin with 1.5 a game. They are plus 15. So they have forced 25 turnovers and turned it over 15 times. 10 fumbles recovered, 15 interceptions versus 6 fumbles lost and 4 interceptions. So that'll do it. That'll get it done if you are going to be plus 1.5 on the season. First place is James Madison. Third place is Cal. I mean, they are the best team, that is up there in the rankings in terms of turnover margin. Alabama's 4. You should notice that. So it's been a very good turnover season for Notre Dame. They've done a real good job on that. Alakino says we've been spoiled with O-line play over the years. We have, right? I mean, I think we look at this as a poor offensive line, and they're semis in the Joe Moore. They're one of the best running teams in the country right now. I mean, let's look at just their yards per carry. It only went up because they averaged over. It came in about 6 yards a carry, and they averaged over 6 yards a carry yesterday. So now tied for 4th in yards per carry at 6. They're averaging 216, about 217 yards a game, and they are, tied for 6th in rushing touchdowns with 32. So this is a very good running team nationally. It just seems like not, because no one has huge numbers, and because of all the backups, and you feel like there's no elite player on the offensive line, but they're getting it done. They're getting it done. You want to get it done. You want your media company to get it done. And if you want to go to a media company that gets it done for you at a high level, like Notre Dame, we expect from Notre Dame offensive line, then go to VSR Media, founded by Notre Dame football pregame host and Emmy award-winning anchor Vahid Sadrazadeh. VSR Media provides professional and cinematic video and photo. Whether you're looking for a collegiate or pro-level highlight reel, have a personal story to tell, or are aiming to diversify and grow your business, VSR Media specializes in short and long-form video storytelling, social media management, and website design. VSR Media also captures professional headshots, senior, and sports photos. Contact them at vsrmediacompany.com. Mention Irish Sports Daily to receive 20% off your first project. Visit them online or give them a call at 574-800-9106. John Moore had a question about the CFB playoffs. So, actually, what I can do is let's bring this up. I believe this is the last one. We'll bring up what they were just so everyone is here we go. This is what they were. Okay, so Tennessee was 7, Notre Dame was 8, BYU was 6. In my opinion, do we think Georgia? I think Georgia jumps. I think Georgia moves to 8 or 7. And I think Notre Dame moves up to. I think Notre Dame moves up to 6. And then everything else stays the same. Right? Tennessee will drop. Miami will move up, but I think Georgia moves ahead of Miami because they actually have some wins. I think honestly, you could see Alabama move ahead of Miami too. Ole Miss, so everyone will move up here. Boise State will move up. SMU, the teams that are falling out are Louisville. Colorado will move up. Did Kansas State lose yesterday? I think they did. I think I saw that. And if they did, then Kansas State will move up. Or I'm sorry, we'll move down. Colorado will move up. LSU will fall out. South Carolina will move up. Army will move up. So I don't think so. I don't think Notre Dame drops below Georgia because they do have that second loss. I think it only matters to the committee that Georgia is in, frankly. They want Georgia to be in it. They don't want them to be like maybe Tennessee. Well, because Tennessee's also beaten Bama too. It's weird. That people were tweeting about this. It's kind of a weird situation with the playoff, but that's what I think. I think Notre Dame moves up. I don't think anyone passes them. That's my opinion. It would be weird if one of them passed them. I just think they want them in the playoffs. That's the important thing for them. So I should let's see. Let me make sure. John Moore. That was John Moore's question. I put that up. Do you see Georgia jumping us? I don't think so. I don't think so. Abe Froman, Sausage King of Chicago, officiating crew blew the Notre Dame muff punt. Yep. Receiving can catch the ball before it hits the ground, and Notre Dame was not given the chance. It's not good. You got to know the rules. You got to know the rules. Isaac K says, Freeman has been constantly saying you don't get better from doing the same thing every week. But that's hard when you play these mushy middle ACC teams. Yeah, like it's true. You know, it's a true statement. It's just there is a human nature factor to this where it's like you're expected to win and you do. And look at sometimes you just lose a little bit of edge. You know, they need to play some better competition. I think they'll have an edge this week against Army. It's a big game. They're ranked, and I think going to New York, there's going to be a lot of energy there. I do think they'll have an edge to this, kind of like in 2018 against Syracuse, kind of late in that season where they kind of randomly went to New York to play, and Syracuse was like good that year, and then Notre Dame played great. So I think we're kind of see that. Steve Hogan says, "Love the morning after show." Appreciate you, Steve. Hey, if you're in for the first time, hit the like, hit subscribe, hit the notification bell. Give me a nice little treat this morning. It is too late in the season for all the drops, especially Collins and Faison. I agree. I agree with that. The drops got to go away. We can't be having that. Can't have the drops like that. Alakino says too many third and longs. That's true. They really. The inefficiency in the passing game early, and then the penalties just like were killing them early in the game. It's just like every it seemed like every third down was third and long, 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12. It was awful. So Ben Tarnowski says, got to keep Riley healthy, and Notre Dame was running it well, so limit hits on him. Yeah, that could have been why you saw less Riley Leonard yesterday. John Imperial, Jaden Harrison with a couple of very good grabs. Yes, on the touchdown, on the slant, he basically caught the back of the ball. Riley Leonard threw some heat. He caught the back of the ball, so that's a good job by Jaden Harrison. Let's see, Colsey played. Colsey did play. BG says it's a time to bench Bo Collins. I think I'm fine to start him, but if it doesn't look good early or whatever, you're not making plays, and you got to make a move. He's not playing. He wasn't playing so well that it's like he's untouchable, in my opinion. Robert Hallecky. Good to see you, Robert. Thanks for being here this morning. I'm just glad we are at a point where we can be upset by winning games by 21-35. Yeah, yeah. It is nice, right? Like this is probably very close to like the Holtz era stuff, to be honest. I mean, we weren't online then, but like this is what would happen. They would win 35-14 or something like that, and people are upset, or they would be upset. I was watching the Pitt 1993 game this week because that's the sort of thing I do because I'm a weirdo like that. Kevin McDougal got benched in that game. He got benched for performance. Notre Dame was up 13-0. They were up 13-0 late in the third against Pitt, who was very bad that year. They ended up winning, what was it, 44-0 or something like that. They got some kind of fluky stuff at the end, but it's just like, there's random games where you just don't look that good. Steven Shulkowski, receivers get a D. I mean, that's tough, right? Like Jaden Greathouse, what did he do wrong? What did Jaden Harrison do wrong? What did Jordan Faison? Yeah, he had a couple moments, but he didn't catch the ball. Yeah, but like what did Chris Mitchell do wrong? He didn't do anything wrong. I just think we're just getting mad at Bo Collins and Faison for a couple of drops. Notre Dame superfan. The issue with officiating is much like an umpire's strike zone. Be consistent. If you nitpick the jersey numbers on down lineman for the punt, then nitpick the juggled fair catch, the USC drop pass, etc. Exactly. I mean, you're digging into the rule book on the fake punt situation. You're going deep on that. You don't know the basics. Like you're calling it a fumble on the catch. It's just like he didn't catch the ball, right? He never had control of it. Christian Gray knocks it out, and it's like, oh, it's a fumble, and then we can't review it. It's just unbecoming. G baby, go back and watch. He's got to catch this pass. You got to catch the pass, man. Like this is big time football. Go across college football and watch some of the passes being caught in these big time games by big time wide receiver. You got to make these plays. You got to do it. I mean, I'm watching Carnell Tate making diving interceptions in the end zone with turning his body to protect the ball from the ground. That's good stuff. You got to make those plays. You got to. It's big time college football. Steven Shokowski says, "Why not change jersey numbers on the players on the punt team?" Because from their point of view, it's because they don't need to because they did it the right way. That's their point of view. So. Billy Blue says we need full-time officials at the level. Yeah. They need to not guys that have a different career and show up on the weekend. Yeah, that's what they need to do. There's too much money involved. There's too much money involved in the whole thing. Andre King, Pops. What's up, Pops? If you guys are bored, go watch the LSU football YouTube channel. Remember, we used to be like that. Good time. Yeah, those YouTube shows. We did tell them, in fairness, we did say, like, hey, you be careful with BK. Be careful with BK. A lot of talk about playoff seeding. Michael Hahn says in the 60s and 70s, USC ruined a lot of seasons. All right, fair. That's fair. I was not alive, so if that may be true, that may be correct. USC is a scrappy. Their metrics are good. Their metrics are they're like top 20, top 25 in college football. They are a scrappy team. They are not terrible like that. They're good team, bad record, right? Like is kind of where I come out. I didn't think the quarterback, just you look at his numbers yesterday, the new quarterback, they were fine. They weren't eye popping. I think they could have done the same thing with Miller Moss, frankly. But that's good, right? It's good that they're winning, right? Like you want them to not just be a total dumpster fire if you're going to lose to them. Greg Wasserman says, "Am I the only one who thought Notre Dame should concentrate on the running game more than the passing game?" Notre Dame has good backs but mediocre wide receivers. I did think that they put a lot of the onus on the passing game yesterday to move the ball when it seemed, but there were a couple times when they had to because of penalties, right? I think they tried to run it. They were like their first 3 or 4 drives, like they didn't have 2 straight running plays on any of them. I was like, just like to Greg's point, like just continue to run it, because they weren't doing that. It was a run for 6, pass, punt, and it's just like that's not going to work. That's not going to work out. CFP Hurt says Kansas State did lose, yeah, so they're dropping. Jay Lamont, thank you for the super chat. What happens if Indiana beats OSU? Are the Buckeyes out? I doubt it. I doubt they'll be out. I don't think the committee wants to do that. That's the thing about like some of these schools where it's like Georgia, you can't do enough to get you out of the playoffs. That's the thing. Like Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Alabama, there's almost nothing you can do to that make them want you out of the playoffs. That's the thing. And the other part is like, speaking of the referees, and this has nothing to do with yesterday, just a general thought that I had, like when you look at the landscape of like how much money is involved in the playoff and how much sway the conferences have, the opportunity for corruption in the sport right now is just so, I mean, look at like some of this stuff with like BYU that's going on, right? Like some of these calls, it's just, they got to get their conferences in these games, and they need to do something where it's like an independent crew like the NFL. You just can't have conference affiliation anymore. You just can't. When there's so much, there's automatic bids and there's lobbying. You've got an AD on the freaking college football committee like he's the head. I mean, come on, you can't have that. Like that's got to go away for the integrity of the sport. You just can't. It's unbecoming. It is. So that's kind of where I'm at with that little rant. Chris Walls, is there concern with the lack of consistency and rhythm of the offense? Yes, I think there is concern. It's not alarming, right? It's just it's that you watch it and you think to yourself, man, if they're gonna lose, this is the reason why. Like you can watch it in real time. You can watch in real time where it's like, this is going to bite you. You can't continue to give the ball to the other team. At some point, it's going to cost you. It didn't cost Notre Dame yesterday, but it's just like that's where it's like, man, this is where they're going to blow it. Is that like there's too much empty drives. The amount of drives that Notre Dame had yesterday, like a well-functioning offense, an offense that is clicking on all cylinders, they would have had 28 points in the first quarter with the amount of times that Virginia kept giving them the ball, and then Notre Dame just kept giving it back. And when I say giving them the ball, I mean like punts. Like they were punting for a lot of that. And then at the end of the first half, they started turning it over, and then Notre Dame started punching in the end zone. So they were taking advantage of the turnovers, but Virginia just kept punting to them, and they could not do anything. And it's a concern. Steven Shulkowski says, what did Mitchell do at all? He didn't do anything wrong, is what I'm saying. I'm not going to give him a D. They didn't throw him the ball. They threw him the ball a couple of times, and I think he caught him. But it's not, I'm not going to bang a guy for not getting the ball thrown to him like that. Envy Irish says, how do you say I told you so in Cajun? That's good stuff. Oscar's here. Hey, Oscar. BK is bad for your health, both the coach and fast food chain. How dare you? Don't besmirch Burger King. You don't just besmirch the Burger King. That's terrible. Jason Z says, what are the LA folks saying about the new USC quarterback? We're going to monitor. I think the USC week, we're going to get some USC beat people. I'm going to get on that. There's a couple of pods that I like, and we'll have a good conversation about them when we see what they've got. They've got a big game coming up against UCLA. That's going to be something. That's going to be something. Chief Brody says Notre Dame going to be at 6 this week. It's possible. It's possible. I don't know who they would like. I don't know. Like Georgia, would they move all the way up? I don't know. Maybe they would. Right? Maybe they would. Wasserman says 3 losses get you out of the playoffs. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. We'll see about that. Envy Irish says it may cost Notre Dame against Army. Yeah, it might. Limited possessions. You got to take advantage. But then, if Notre Dame, limited possessions, if Notre Dame, if I think Notre Dame's going to be up for this game in a way that they kind of haven't been for the last couple, just because there's a little bit more juice. You're playing a ranked team. Vamos, yeah, Oscar, besmirching the Mexican street corn Whopper. You should apologize, and that's big of you. Thank you, Oscar, for doing that. So Chief Brody says, or they let Alabama go ahead of them after their house Mercer. Yeah, man, like, dude, maybe that Mercer win is just enough. Jason Z says ESPN wants 7 SEC teams follow the money. They will do it if they can get away with it. That is 100% correct. They will definitely do that. All right, I'm going to end it there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. If you like what you heard, please hit the like button. Please hit subscribe. Please hit the notification bell. Soon, whatever it is, we are going live. Jamie and I will be back on Tuesday to talk Notre Dame Army, talk more about this game. Heads up, we might be doing a live Power Hour show, right? It's going to be Jamie and Mike on the show tomorrow. We'll see. We haven't checked irishsportsdaily.com, check the board, see if they want to do that. We might have a live show for Power Hour tomorrow. So, and that'll go up as normal. So just be on the lookout for that. It's possible. We'll tweet it out if it happens. But beyond that, have a good rest of your day, everyone. We'll talk to you soon. Keep hitting and hustling.